Hi, my name is Dick Gail, and this is episode 5 of my interesting life story. So I had just gone into Cleveland to join one of the greatest Dixieland bands in the country, Roy Liberto and the Bourbon Street All-Stars. And when I say Dixieland, that was a misnomer because the entire band was from New Orleans. And in fact, that's how I got my nickname. I was the Yankee. So in the band, I was the Yankee. Everybody else was from New Orleans. But you've never met a nicer bunch of people in your whole life. They were great, and they were great, great musicians. But there's a bunch of funny stories with this band. So when I get into the hotel, the first one that meets and greets me is Roy Liberto and the bass player. And Roy Liberto and the bass player, hi, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. We got some outfits for you, you got to try on, we're going to wear these outfits. And all their outfits, all the jackets, most of them look like awnings. You know, all candy striped, orange, red, I mean, you know, traditional Dixieland outfit. But the band was smoking. The band did a lot of Louis Prima stuff. And you had to really be able to do a double-handed shuffle, which I could do. And they played really good traditional Dixieland. And I wasn't, you know, I wouldn't call myself a real Dixieland drummer. I'm a swing drummer. But I always found myself playing hip little 4s and 8s. I never had to play square stuff to meet them. They always said, play whatever you want, because they were great musicians, man. These cats could all play. So I was never stuck. They always said, just play whatever comes in your empty little head, you know. So, but Bill Kelsey, the bass player, said this story to me. He said to me, I want to say one thing to you, my boy. We're glad to have you in the band. And we hope you're going to stay with us a long time. We just signed a contract with Capitol Records, and this band is going to go to the moon. And we want you to stay with us. We really like the way you play. But there's one thing you should know. And I said to myself, oh, here it comes. You know Bill Kelsey, the saxophone player? Yeah, and Bill Kelsey was bald, totally bald, and he wore the round black glasses like, what's his name, Lennon, with John Lennon, with the Beatles. So he was a funny looking cat, and he had a red goatee. So bald-headed, round black glasses with a red goatee, and that was it. He woke up looking like that. And they said, we don't want you hanging around too much with him because he's got a black girlfriend. And I knew what he meant. And I said, wait until he finds out I have a black girlfriend. So I called Bill Kelsey right away and I said, hey Bill, this is Dick, I'm in. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I went down to his room. He had some drinks and stuff, and we started drinking. And I told him, I said, you know, Bob Coquille said to me not to hang around with you because you got a black girlfriend. I said, wait until they find out I have a black girlfriend. He said, oh, no. He said, I got company. And we became the closest friends. It was so funny. It was so funny. And you should have seen the look on the band's face when my girl stepped off a bus. Oh, I'm telling you, if I'd have had a camera, I'd blow it up and I'd keep it for posterity, you know what I mean? They were nice guys. They never dropped the hammer and they never got stupid, you know. It was those days, man, for some people. And I try to ignore all that shit, man, you know. It's time for everybody to grow up, you know. Let's do the right thing. Let's be decent human beings first. You know, you worry about other things, man. A lot more important than that. So anyway, so Bill and I became real close friends. It was funny. It was funny. So here we go into the theatrical grill. Now the theatrical grill was another story. It sat about 650 people for dinner. All red booths all around the room, and then tablecloths all over the place with an oval-shaped bar in the middle of the floor and the bandstand up in the middle of the bar. It was a classic you know, like the Copacabana or something. And that's the way and they were paying big money. I think the band was getting like 10 grand a week. You know, we were hot. And we were opening up for Peter Nero and Andre Previn and all that. Band was hot. We were kicking ass and taking names. And they were all nice guys. Nobody had any ego and all that crap, you know. So we go in that night, and we're going to open up, and I can't name names, so I'm going to make up some names. And Roy Roberto says, I have a special friend. He says, I want you to meet. So I'm just going to introduce you to him. He said, and then I don't want you to sit with us. He said, yet, you know, because you don't know anybody. He said, you sit with the boys, do whatever you're doing. He said, but I'm going to be sitting here at this table with these people, and I'm going to introduce you to them. He said, because you're the only other Italian in the band. I said, okay. So they came in. I'll get into how they came in some other time. But they came in, and they sat down, and they were like 6 guys and 4 or 5 girls, dressed to kill. So Roy brings me over to the table. He said, this is the new drummer with the band. This is Dick Gail. This is so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. This is Angie, pointing to a guy, a little short Italian guy. So I said, how you doing? Nice to meet you. You Italian? I said, yeah. I said, I'm Sicilian. My mother and father. My mother's Sicilian. My father's from Lisbon, Portugal. Oh, yeah? He said, come and sit with us. You sit with us. So I sat down, have a drink, have a food, order anything you want, he said. He said, you're welcome to join in the conversation, say whatever you want. He said, but anything you hear at this table, you don't hear. You understand? And you never repeat anything. You understand? I said, sure, no problem. I don't have any problem with that. I've been in the streets all my life. And that's the golden rule. Keep your eyes open, keep your big mouth shut. You know, unless you can help somebody. So, we became close friends. He was second under Jimmy Hoffa. And he was a bad, bad boy to cross. When he came in the room, 2 guys came in the front door and stood by the door. 2 more guys came in. One went in the kitchen, one went in both bathrooms, and the other guy stood on the other side of the room until the room was clear. Then he came in with 2 guys and sat down. He was an important man, and they treated him like he was. And he was really a nice guy. A nice guy. He had been friends with Roy for a long time. He flew an airplane with 130 people in to hear us for our grand opening when we opened up at the Metropole the next time from Cleveland. So, I was dating this chick that was part of that group, and this chick was a knockout. I mean, half of the guys that said when they looked at her, their pants fell on the floor. I mean, she was one of them. So I dated her a couple times. And I took her out and I bought her a nice dress. Oh, I was ready to really get involved. And the next day, after her and I had been out the second time, I went in the afternoon to tune up my drums, have a couple of drinks, have something to eat. And 2 of the guys came over and they said to me, Dickie, can we talk to you for a minute? I said, sure. So we went over and we sat at the bar. And he said, are you going out with Louise? That wasn't her name, but you going out with Louise? And I said, well, we dated a couple times. He said, well, you know we like you. He said, you know that, don't you? And I said, yeah. He said, and we trust you. And I said, yeah, I know that. He said, okay, then I hope you don't take this wrong, but I'm going to tell you something. Okay? And I said, yeah. He said, if you take her out again, I don't think it'll be good for your health. Do you understand that? And I said, yeah, I do. He said, okay. So, come on, let's have a drink. And they bought me a drink. They talked for a little while and they got up and left. So I went back to the hotel, cleaned up, came back that night to sit up for drums. And of course, where we were sitting, we were up on the stage, and all the girls sat right around the band so they could flirt and do whatever or whatever. And she came in with somebody, and when I got off the first break, I went over and I talked to her, and I said, you know, somebody came in and told me that it really wouldn't be smart for us to go out. And she said, yeah, I know, I had a feeling about that. She said, that's okay. And I said, yeah, I don't have anything to do with it. I said, okay. And she said, yeah. And that was the last time I ever saw her. Never saw her again. That was part of Cleveland. So I'll go on to the next episode and finish the rest of what happened, which is even more interesting.